Lesson 8.3, Multiplying Binomials. The objective of this lesson is to multiply two binomials or a binomial by a trinomial. Essential understanding. There are several ways to find the product of two binomials, including models, algebra, and tables. Problem 1, using the distributive property. This is the first way you can use to find the product of two binomials. What is a simpler form of 2x plus 4 times 3x minus 7? If we use the distributive property, we can split this up. We can take the first term of the first binomial, which is 2x, and multiply by the second binomial, and then we can take the second term of the first binomial, which is 4, and multiply it. So distribute the second factor, 3x minus 7. So 2x times 3x is 6x squared. 2x times negative 7 is negative 14x. We distributed the 2x. Now we're going to distribute the 4, so we keep 6x squared minus 14x the same. 4 times 3x is plus 12x, and 4 times negative 7 is negative 28. And then we just combine like terms, which are your two middle terms, negative 14x plus 12x. So that gives you 6x squared minus 2x minus 28. So if you like using the distributive property and you're multiplying two binomials, you can use the distributive property. It takes a little bit longer than other methods, but it's not as long as multiplying two trinomials. When you use the distributive property to multiply binomials, notice that you multiply each term of the first binomial by each term of the second binomial. A table or box can help you organize your work. In problem 2, we're going to use a table or a box. What is a simpler form of x minus 3 times 4x minus 5? So the way you set this up is similar to what you probably saw when you were in 3rd grade, 4th grade with your multiplication tables. Okay, you make a 2 by 2 box and you always leave the upper left-hand corner blank because that would be your that would say times, right? Okay, and it doesn't matter if you put 4x minus 5 over here or x minus 3 at the top, doesn't matter. So the first set of parentheses you can put in the top or the bottom. Each term gets its own box, so x. And now this is negative 3. And then the top or the side, whichever matters, the second binomial, so 4x and negative 5. What can help you is if you put the exponent of 1, if it's not there, just to help you out. So then you fill in the boxes by multiplying. So x to the first times 4x to the first is 4x squared. X times negative 5 is negative 5x. That goes here. Then you multiply negative 3 by everything. Negative 3 times 4x is negative 12x, and negative 3 times negative 5 is positive 15. If you set up the box correctly, your like terms could be, most of the time, they are your diagonals. Now 4x squared and 15, that they're not like terms. So then you just you write this out in standard form. So 4x squared, negative 12x, and negative 5x get you negative 17x, and then positive 15. This would be your answer. Or you can use FOIL. Now again, we're still multiplying two binomials, so two polynomials with two terms each. So FOIL stands for F, you multiply the first terms, O, you multiply the outside terms, I, you multiply the inside terms, and L, you multiply the last terms. And once you get those four products, you just add them together. So problem 3, what is a simpler form of 5x minus 3 times 2x plus 1? So the first terms are 5x and positive 2x. Multiply them together, it gets you 10x squared. The outside terms, 5x is on the outside over here, positive 1 is on the outside over here, that yields 5x. The inside terms, negative 3 and positive 2x yield negative 6x, and the last terms, negative 3 and positive 1 get you negative 3. So now you have these four terms. You add up those products. 10x squared plus 5x minus 6x minus 3. The middle terms should be your like terms. Positive 5x minus 6x is negative x. So your solution is 10x squared minus x minus 3. So to multiply two binomials, you have three methods. You can use the distributive property, you can use the box or table method, or you can use FOIL. Whichever one of those you feel most comfortable doing, again, to multiply binomials, use whatever method you want. We introduced three methods to you, so all you have to do is choose one that you feel comfortable with. But remember, this is just to multiply binomials. Because here we're going to see multiplying a trinomial and a binomial. So problem 5, what is a simpler form of 3x squared plus x minus 5 times 2x minus 7? Now here, FOIL does not work. Distributive property could work, but you're just going to take a little bit more time. What I would suggest for this is to use the box method. The box method or table works for any type of multiplication problem with polynomials. Multiplying two binomials, a trinomial and a binomial, 4 terms and 3 terms, whatever the case may be. As long as you set up the box correctly and you do your multiplication correctly, you will get the right answer. So here we're going to set up a 3 by 2 box. And again, this just means times or multiply. You always leave this box empty. Okay? I like to put an exponent of 1 so I remember what I'm adding. So 2x times 3x squared is 6x cubed. 2x times x is 2x squared, and so on. You can see the box yourself. Now, I said that 9 times out of 10, your diagonals are going to be your like terms. X squared and x squared, those are my diagonals. Those are like terms. I also see another diagonal. I see x and x. Those are also like terms. Okay? Once you fill out your box, once you do your multiplication, you want to write out all the like terms out in standard form. So 6x cubed plus 2x squared minus 21x squared minus 10x minus 7x plus 35. You write out all 6 terms from left to right, from highest to lowest exponent. And then you combine your like terms. Negative 21x squared and 2x squared, negative 19x squared, and negative 7x and negative 10x get you negative 17x. And you leave 6x cubed and 35 alone because they didn't have like terms to be combined with. Okay? So using the box method is just a little bit neater and more organized to help you out, and definitely to help you out, to help you realize if you have like terms or not. Okay, so let's look at some problems. I'll do distributive property, FOIL, and the box method for each of these terms. So each of these problems. So number 1, what is the simpler form of x minus 6 times 4x plus 3? Here I'll use the distributive property because this is 2 binomials. So I'm going to take x and I'm going to multiply it by 4x plus 3. And then you just have to be careful with your signs. This is now a negative 6 times 4x plus 3. So when I distribute an x, I get 4x squared plus 3x. When I distribute negative 6, I'm going to get negative 24x minus 18. And I have 4 terms, and my like terms should be the 2 middle ones, and they are. So my final answer is going to be 4x squared minus 21x minus 18. Okay? That's an x. Number 2, what is the simpler form of 3x minus 4 times x plus 2? We're going to use the FOIL method. So my first terms are 3x and x. So 3x times x is 3x squared. My outside terms are 3x times 2, positive 2. That gets me 6x. My inside terms, remember I told you be careful with your signs, negative 4 times x, that's negative 4x. And my last terms are negative 4 and positive 2, that gets me 8. Now if I look at these 4 terms, I see that my like terms are negative 6x and negative 4x. So my final answer is going to be 3x squared. When I combine 6x and negative 4x, I get plus 2x. Oops, it's supposed to be negative 8 minus 8. That was using FOIL. Number 1 and number 2, again, these are multiplying binomials. So I can either use distributive property like I did here, FOIL method, or I could have used the box. In the last problem, what is a simpler form of 2x squared minus 3x plus 1 times x minus 3? Here, I do not want to use distributive property because it would be too much work. And FOIL method doesn't work because there are not 2 binomials. So here I'm going to set up my table. I'm going to have x, and I'm going to have negative 3. And then I'm going to have 2x squared. You just have to be careful with your signs. I'm going to have negative 3x, and I'm going to have positive 1. And now I'm going to multiply. 2x squared times x is 2x cubed. X times negative 3x is negative 3x squared. X times 1 is x. Negative 3 times 2x squared is negative 6x squared. Negative 3 times negative 3x is positive 9x. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. And remember, if you do this correctly, your like terms should be diagonal. Here's one, and here's the other one. So my final answer is going to look like this. 2x cubed, I'm going to combine my x squared terms. Negative 6x squared and negative 3x squared is negative 9x squared. My next two terms, positive 9x and positive x, make positive 10x. And then I have minus 3. And there you go.